Well, good morning, guys. It is about, let's see, it's about 7, it's just about 7 in the morning. Sun's coming up. I'm getting some good light in the one window. But what we're gonna do today is I have got some modifications to the workbench I'm gonna make, and I'm gonna try and get some replacement tops for one of my diamond strops made. So let's get outside and let's get started and look at that. You guys have seen the workbench before, probably plenty of times. And you know, like I said, I use this round piece of glass and I put all of this on here to try and keep water off the bench, but it's not real effective. And as you can see, I'm ruining the finish. I already had to refinish this table once and I sealed all the cracks and everything. But what was happening is it gets wet and then it gets down in here. But what I'm noticing is that I'm having problems where I'm starting to get stains and bad spots in even this marine grade varnish. And little chips and things like that where I've dropped stuff on, and I've had to just do touch repairs on this varnish. But I had an idea, because this old coffee table plate that we have, I'm getting ready to clean the concrete out here, and the wood deck, that's what that's out for. This is a glass plate from an old coffee table. It's the same glass as this, it's tempered glass. And so I was thinking that I'm gonna put this down on the table to protect it from the water that makes it over this. But the problem is that this thing is real slick. There's a reason that this is always the side that's up. This is the side that's already been scratched up a lot from re-flattening stones on it. So the problem is if you use the flat glass side, and there's water, and you put something that's slick-sided, like the bottom of one of these, it like seals to it. So what I've got to do is we're gonna rough the surface of that up, which is convenient because before I start sharpening today, as you can see, the bench is completely clear. There's not even any water in my bucket. There's no stones on the bench because I've been on hiatus for a few days. I did some refinish stuff yesterday, but it's been hectic. It's been hectic getting the wife and kid off to Japan and the competition. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna get everything set up and I'm gonna flatten some stones. We're gonna talk about some maintenance, but in the interim, what I'm actually doing is I'm roughing up that surface so that stuff doesn't stick to it as much. And just on the sides, the center can be fine because this is gonna be in the center. So we're gonna kill two birds with one stone. Maybe I'll talk to you while we do it. I want to have this on here and I wanna have room to be able to put stuff so I'm not getting stuff like this. Did you see this? This is stuff getting spilled on and staining, and that is knife pivot lube, and the thing is it soaks in and I can feel that the varnish is tacky. So, because this is a natural marine grade varnish, so it's oils and things like that will get into it. But the problem I have is this circle's caused because water gets under that glass plate and it can't get out. And so if I just put this down, I'm gonna have the same problem. So the first thing I gotta do is I gotta make some feet for it. And so now I thought I have several corks. I use these for sharpening, you can see. I use them to knock the burr off. That's something I've told you guys about, you can see. I was thinking I could just cut these, but the problem is I'll never get them flat. And even though the weight might crush this down, and then I remembered I got this old piece of leather that Bodiger gave me that was part of a strap for something. And so Robert Bodiger gave me this, and I can just cut this up. My daughter had tried to use it as a bookmark, but it's too thick. So I'm gonna cut this into 4 pieces, and I'll put them at the corners. Maybe I'll do 6. And that should give me enough offset from the table that if something does get under it, it'll dry. And I can still, the other problem too is this, I put this on the table and then immediately realized that it suctions it's, you can hear it. It sticks to it. So that's the other thing, is it'll make it easier for me to remove this when I get ready to clean the table. So like I said, guys, I'm not sure if this is a video you guys are even interested in, but it's what I'm doing, and I figured I haven't shot a video, an actual video, in a while. I may as well just at least show you what's going on. I actually only have 3 knives to sharpen today. That's the sad part of this. Business, this time of year, business is always slow. So what I got to do now is I've got to clean this off, and I got to find the glue I want to use to do this. So these are going to be the feet, and once I get the feet on it, then we're going to flatten stones. And my goodness, it's humid today. It is, guys, this is miserable. It's probably 80 degrees under the canopy right now, but it's not the heat. I've already sweat my shirt through. It's just so humid right now. It's monsoon season. It was raining last night at one point when I got up. There's some serious moisture in the air. So give me a second. We're going to get this started. I'll go get the glue. I know my wife has some of that E6000 stuff that'll just basically glue anything. So let's go and get that, because the other option I had thought was electrical tape. Just put a band of electrical tape in a couple places and I get something under it and peel it. But if you guys know, the electrical tape will stick to the tabletop and cause as much problem as the rubber I was having before. So I figured that this, with the suede side down, will give me something that, you know, even if it absorbs some moisture, I can pull it up and then set it off the side and let it dry. So let's go ahead and let's get these feet put together. So guys, my wife does have E6000. There's 2 tubes of this. She uses this to put sequins on our daughters' costumes as they come off, because those sequins and rhinestones come off. So my wife uses this. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this cut up. So give me a second here. I don't want to cut into the glass with my sharp blade. So what I'm going to do is, we'll use this one. I'm gonna cut this into 6 pieces. And I'm not gonna try and make them perfect, but I mean, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. So they don't have to all be the size. So these skinny ones are going to be in the middle. These will be corners. So I'm just going to glue these down, and then we'll probably come back a little bit later and see. Like I said, they don't have to be perfect. I'm just trying to get these. The thing I'm thinking I want to do is, it's not doing what I want. Let's see, will the coarse one do it? So I'm using my diamond matrix stone here, and I'm hoping that just to get the adhesive a better shot. Oh yeah, that's working great. This might be how I rough up the entire surface. There we go, there's a little bit of a rough spot there. We'll do one here. Let's see, that's not... I can go there. And here. Just scoring that just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of a better shot at probably adhering. So, give me a second, guys. I'm gonna get this whole thing glued up. I'll bring you back when I'm ready to start gluing it. Sorry about that, guys. I forgot to bring you back with me. I got into it and I started gluing these up. So I already did the middle two. Just putting a little bit of that E6000 on it. We're gonna see how this holds. There are other glues that I can probably use. The CA glue might be a better option. I don't know, but I currently, it's almost blasphemy, but I currently do not have super glue in the house. So there is no CA glue for me to use. So we're just gonna use this E6000 right now. I was just thinking about it. This might be too rubbery and soft, but this stuff usually sets up pretty quick. It holds pretty well, as we found. Let's go ahead, and so what I'm going to do is, to help this set and prevent it from slipping and things like that, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to put some weight on it while it dries, and while it's doing that, we're going to rough up the surface because, like I said, if I don't, what's going to happen is things are going to stick to the table with water acting and forming a vacuum. So now, I'm going to move all this stuff. I'm just going to set it down like this and let it sit under the weight of the top. Now, I'm going to give that a little bit of time. I'll probably bring you back. It's probably going to be a few hours later because I want to let this sit under some weight, and then I'm going to rough the surface up. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some sharpening. So I will bring you guys back a little bit later. I need to get a fan or something out here, and I definitely need my big cowboy hat because it is, this, as I said before, this canopy no longer provides UV protection. So I sunburned my ears a couple times out here, and I really don't want to sunburn my ears and neck. It's uncomfortable. It's hard to, I really have a hard time like burning my arms and stuff. I spent so many years in the sun that I really don't burn, but my ears will burn, and so will the back of my neck, and it's sensitive. So I don't need cancer. Let's just go with that. So, all right guys, I'll bring you back in just probably 2 or 3 hours. I forgot my other project. I told you there's a couple projects. So my wife wanted me to get rid of this. It's been sitting around for a while. I kept telling her I had a use for it. She said, you gotta get rid of it. My wife brings home Japanese noodles in these basswood, balsawood boxes. And I was like, you know what I need? I need another 10,000 or another half micron strop. But unfortunately, the way business has been lately, I don't have fucking money for it. So we're probably gonna cut this piece off. I don't have my saw, it's at Matt's house. But this is gonna happen sometime this week. So I'll bring you along and I'll show you how I used to do these strops. So what I'm gonna do is I'm basically gonna replace this piece here with a piece of this. And it should work. It's not quite as soft as the ones that are on my strops, but I think that might be a good thing. This strop is almost too soft. This one came almost too soft. This one is exactly like this. So this strop and this strop got bought at the same time. And can you see how much more wear is on this one than there is on this one? It's just, this strop, since the day I bought it, has just tried to come apart. And this one has lasted longer than this one or its predecessor. Because I bought these two together. This is one that I just bought separate. Both of the ones that came this time, they just wore out. I've had this one longer and I've had this one, and it's the one that came with it. So we're gonna try that and see. I'm gonna peel off. I've got to soak this because I've got to peel off this piece, but I need to get some measurements first. So it's gonna be fun. It's just gonna be a fun week. I like when I don't have a lot of actual sharpening to do. There's things that do happen still that are business, 100% business related and business intensive to Crazy Sharp. So hang out. I'll come back when we get ready to resurface this glass plate. It's hot. It's been about 45 minutes or so since I started the glue on these. It looks like it's starting to set. I'm picking it up. I'm not seeing any issues with it. It's nice and flat. But what we're gonna do now is, I was thinking to myself, how am I gonna cut this? I had a little coping saw at one point, just for small wood and things like that. But then I got thinking about it. I was like, well, I've got a woodworking tool that my father-in-law used when he was a carpenter. So I'm just gonna try and follow this line as close as I can. I mean, I can always whittle it back after I'm gonna start my initial thing. I'm gonna bring you guys in on this. I just wanted to see, this is gonna work just fine. I knew it would. This thing is crazy, crazy sharp. So let me turn it around so you guys see what I'm doing. So all I'm doing is I'm just cutting along these lines, and these lines are arbitrary pretty much anyway, because the fact is I outlined it off of the original, but I hit the wall, and so you've got a good bit of offset, so it was not an exact line. So I'll be able to whittle this back. But this is cutting through just like I had hoped, so should not have a real problem with this. I'll be able to follow these lines, and I can just break off. When I get through, I can start breaking it off. But this is pretty much what this knife was for. This is what a Kuridashi was for. It's a woodworking tool. So cutting with the grain is way easier, even though, you know, it's balsa wood or basswood or whatever you want to really call this. I think this is balsa. I've seen a lot of other boxes like this, and they're listed balsa wood boxes. That might be too far over, but like I said, it wasn't an exact line to begin with. I got off my line a little bit, so I'll just follow that. There we go. That probably was enough. Let's go ahead and cut this off. I've done this before, but like I said, I used to do it with a little saw that I had. That I can't find the blades for. I still have the saw, I just can't find the blades for it. Man, that is... I'll bring you guys around and I'll tell you something in a minute. So, we got the majority of the way through and it broke off. But we're gonna... This will be much cleaner and much more even. But, I mean, in the big scope of things, that's gonna work. That is just about the size I need. As a matter of fact, it's just perfect the way it is. We're gonna stop what we're doing. I'm gonna figure out how to get this off. Or this one off, I should say. And, but I was just showing you, yeah, this thing came in handy. I did a lot of cleanup. You guys didn't see it on camera. I am gonna clean up this little weirdness here. This thing, this was a purpose-built tool for this. I'm just cleaning up a little bit along these lines. Just ever so slightly. So there we go. We have that piece. Now, I was trying to be real careful to cut with this side down, so if I had any breakage, it'd be on this side, because this is the side I am not going to use. That ink is going, it would have to be sanded off and stuff, and that's just extra work, but this side is perfectly clean. It's exactly the way I want it. There we go. Now I can replace this without having to actually replace all of it. So while I was at it, I went ahead and just made another spare. And I'm just cleaning up these corners. This one's got a bad edge that I just kind of wanted to clean up. It had a big ding in it, but that's not going to affect the strop. So I have two. This one's not quite perfect. It cracked along the line a little differently. I could always go back and get another piece out of this if I need to. But the fact is, really for what I need, this will be fine. I give you guys a perspective of time. I did go and get my big hat because it is incredibly high UV today, even with it being overcast. The UV level is like 11. And so I was like, I gotta go in and get my hat. I could just feel it. And so just to give you a perspective of time, I started this video at 7:30. I just was puttering around doing stuff. So I started at 7:30. It is now, hang on. It is now 9:45, almost 10 o'clock. So I've let this cure, I've let this glue cure up a good bit. It seems to be holding really well, but the fact is it really doesn't have to hold perfect because I don't think this is gonna slide. So the whole point of this was to allow it some air underneath so I can, and then allow me to pick it up. But now, like I said, what I have to do is I've got to rough this surface so my tools don't stick. So like if you put something that's really flat on a piece of flat glass, a lot of times it'll kind of just, it'll feel sticky. But if it's wet, it'll like, it's almost like it's vacuumed on it. You gotta like slide it to the edge to get it off. I don't have to do that. So since I have to flatten a bunch of these stones anyhow, we're just gonna flatten them on this. So we will talk about stone flattening and some other stuff. But the problem is I have got to be kind of careful where I do it. I want to do it on the sides. So I've got a few stones that need flattened. My diamond stones need flattened, and my aluminum oxide stones, a couple of them need flattened. My 1000 grit aluminum oxide is dished. And my 600 grit has got some issues on it. I'm gonna do a video about your stones and like maintaining stones and things that people forget. So we'll do that in a different video. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna maintain these stones on that. So I will probably do that time lapse so this video doesn't take 3 hours, because it's gonna take me a while. So, all right guys, hang out a second and we'll get this turned around and do some time lapse. So guys, the problem with what you just saw me do is that silica carbide is really coarse. It's hard enough that it cuts the glass, and it's everywhere now. You saw I used my rags to wipe off the plate. Well, that means that those are now contaminated. You can't get that. If you're trying to get a really good edge, you can't have any of that grit contamination. So now I have to clean the entire counter. It's okay, I'm ready. And then wipe it down with a rag soaked with fresh water. So I mean, I gotta move everything. But the fact is, it's not as impressive to see, but you can see very clearly that this has been scored on this side. See, it gets hazy in areas. And then on this side, where I did the diamond plates, you can see it even more significantly. There's a hazy area. I'm not sure how it's coming through on camera, but it definitely did do what I was wanting to do, and that's just enough to break that surface tension, I hope, to have things not stick. I have no idea what Siri was doing right there. My watch was talking to me. So yeah, there's a lot of cleanup after you do all that, because if you get that grit mixed in from this silica carbide dust, if you get it mixed in, or the aluminum oxide, you get it mixed in, this is not as bad. It's 240 grit red aluminum oxide. But something that's really coarse like this, which is just, it's like somebody pulverized one of these stones and put it in a bag. Oh, that's what I should do. I should just rub this around on it a little bit. Maybe that'll be later. But yeah, you've got to clean this up pristine after you do that. So these are just small little aspects of like my day-to-day stuff. Like, I flatten stones 3 times a week. I have to do this 3 times a week. I gotta clean this mess up. I have to basically clean everything. It is hot. I'm not gonna lie, it's ice water in my, I'm gonna do a review about that Ozark Trail fucking tumbler. But yeah, you've gotta, to get those mirrored edges, you can't have any grit contamination from something like a dust or a powder. That's why my stones stay in a drawer. I wipe not necessarily the entire counter off, not the entire workbench off every time that I use the stones, but I definitely wipe off my glass work surface and rinse it off real good and make sure that, holy crap, whoo, humid. It's about 90 degrees right now. Just make sure that I have got a clean work surface so I'm not getting any grit contamination. And about once a week, I then go through and I wash out my tubs, I wash out I completely clean the work surface, completely pristine. So yeah, it's just a little aspect, but let's get this plate up and let's see how this plate works. So if you do use this diamond or that silica carbide on a glass plate to flatten stones, get some of these microfiber cloths. These do about the best job of anything I've found so far to do the final cleanup. It picks up any residual, just little crap laying around. But the thing is, as you're moving those stones around, they kick off little pieces and throw it all over the place. There's some of that silica carbide clear over here on this side where I wasn't even working. So, like I said, after you flatten stones, there's a whole nother piece of work that's involved. And then you have to clean out any tubs that you're gonna use that you may have put stones in right after flattening. Those are gonna be washed real well. Everything's just gotta be cleaned and ready for the next set of knives that are coming in. But like I said, this is a time where I don't have a ton of stuff coming in because it's summer. This is the way it is every year. I have an influx right after Blade, and then I have an off period where everybody's on vacation and things like that. So, yeah, I'm gonna start getting this workbench put back together, and we'll take a look at the finished new workbench. Turn my watch. Well, guys, I didn't 100% get everything I wanted. I wanted to be able to have it so that my tubs and everything can sit here, but I don't think that's gonna work. I think I'm gonna shift this more towards the middle, but you can see where I scored this surface, so I shouldn't have problems. And I will tell you, even after you flatten, if you just rinse that, you're not gonna be able to get it. You need to get a cloth or something and wipe that off, because the silica carbide and aluminum oxide powder will get down in there and it'll stick, and then you set something on it, and the next thing you know, you've got grit contamination, because for some reason, it'll stick in the glass when you rinse it, but then when you touch anything to it, it's just like it glues itself to it, and then it's pain. But you can see that I've had stuff stick to the table because I had the wet stuff here, and the whole point is to try and avoid some of that moisture that keeps getting stuck on the table all the time. Because I want this workbench to last. This was an expensive workbench in the first place. Nice wood butcher block top that I wanted because I wanted to be able to have a surface where I could drop things. Now I'm gonna have to be a little more careful. If I happen to drop something on this surface, there's very limited chance of damage. But in the big scope of things, I also want to be able to use this bench for as long as possible, because like I said, it was a heavy duty piece of equipment, and when I ordered it, it was not cheap. And the fact is, it's the right height. Like, it is so hard to find a workbench that's the right height. So, like I said, guys, that's just something I thought maybe we could come along and do. And holy crap, where'd that, see? Okay, you guys ready for this? This stuff just, it's amazing. There is a little pile of the red aluminum oxide that somehow, even after cleaning this all up, like I did, is underneath that. Now, big scope of things, big deal? Probably not, because it's gonna stay under the table. But the fact is that is ridiculous. I cannot, once it's out there, it's out there. You've gotta be so careful to keep your stuff segregated. So, but yeah, just a quick little video that I thought I'd throw up. And you know, I do a lot of live feed stuff, but I haven't been doing a lot of actual videos. I have a video I'm probably gonna shoot today. If I can get, I have 3 knives to sharpen, and then I've got some shipping to do. Well, actually I have 5 knives to sharpen. That won't take me very long, but I'm gonna get started on that, and I'm probably gonna work into the evening. It's getting pretty warm with the sun hitting that canopy. It gets really warm because it acts like an oven, especially on a day like today where there's no wind and it's really humid. It's just stuffy, and so I'm gonna start on it and see how I feel. If it just feels like it's too hot, I'll just do them tonight after it cools down. It's a nice thing about working for yourself. I'll start working at 10 o'clock tonight if I need to. Guys, I love you all. I hope you liked this video. This was just something, I was like, you know, I've got to do this anyway. I may as well take these guys along with me. It's not gonna slow me down at all. Why is there ashes? I wonder if there's a fire somewhere and I'm getting some ashes. Because I'm noticing ash. Yeah. Yeah, there's ash. I bet there's a brush fire somewhere here, and I'm getting some ash that's coming in on the wind, because there is a little bit of a breeze. Not much, but I mean, it's pretty still, but it is coming. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of ash. Okay, little pieces of ash. Maybe somebody's lighting a barbecue. Who knows? It's summertime. Anyway, guys, take it easy. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down. I hope y'all liked the clickbait title on yesterday's live feed. That was just done for fun. if you want to support the channel, down in this corner is going to be a Patreon link. Up here is going to be a subscription link. Over here is going to be a video YouTube thinks you like. Down here's a video I think you like. And guys, I don't know if you saw my daughter's ice skating competition. It's starting to become more, it's being more and more expensive every time. And so if you want to help support that, I would really appreciate it. I have a GoFundMe that I've put together for her, and I'm putting the link in the subscription, or not the subscription, in the comments / description area below. So you guys take it easy. I love you. I love doing these videos. I'm sorry that they're fewer and farther between. It's been so hectic. But I appreciate you guys. I definitely appreciate you guys that commented on my daughter's skating video, and I want you to know I read every comment, but I don't always respond because there's a lot of times that I've already answered the question and things like that. So if you just know that I read every comment, more to protect the channel than for actual answering and things like that. I just like to see how the comments section goes, where you guys answer each other's questions. That's what makes it fun, is the interaction that I see on that side. So without further ado, guys, I'm out of here. I've got work I actually can start on. I might work in the house a little bit where it's cooler, but I love you all, and I will talk to you later.